Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the video. We're going to be discussing a series of leaks for Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, I would like to point out that you should take this information with a grain of salt, despite the fact that the moderators of the Mass Effect subreddit have supposedly verified the source of information, but this source has requested that they do not share who has leaked this information. This is obviously so Electronic Arts / BioWare can't easily identify the culprit in this particular case, but as usual, if you want to take this information at face value, that's your prerogative. Now, this information is obviously fairly spoiler-y, so if you don't want to know anything going into Mass Effect Andromeda, I would suggest probably not watching the video. Having said that, it's not like it's going to give you all of the game's plot or anything like that. Last point I'd like to make, even if this information is accurate currently, obviously the game is still in development, so things could change anyway. From my own personal standpoint, I'm somewhat looking forward to Mass Effect Andromeda. That's actually me being really reserved on the whole situation. I'm so looking forward to Mass Effect Andromeda, like way more than Fallout, or pretty much any other game actually this year. It's easily one of my most anticipated titles for going into next year. I'm a huge fan of Mass Effect as a series. I absolutely love it. I think to me I don't know why. It's absolutely amazing game for me. But anyway, enough drooling. Let's go into the leak. So here it is. This is a recap. There will be 2 squad mates accompanying the main character. Now, we don't know all of these squad mates, we certainly don't know their names, but there will be a human blonde woman, and there will be a Krogan. I'm pretty sure that this is not going to be obviously Rex, but we don't know their names. All squad mates will be equipped with jetpacks, which should come in handy during exploration. I think you can imagine how that would be used, which is kind of cool. The Omni tool now has more functionality, so it will be usable, for example, as a combat shield. I really like that, because the Omni tool, it's not like it was useless in previous Mass Effect, obviously, but it also, I don't feel it lived up to the name Omni tool. Like, you know, you say Omni tool and you expect it to be able to do pretty much everything, including cook your breakfast in the morning, and it didn't really feel like it was able to do that. So that's good in my personal opinion. Now, obviously, despite the fact that, or rather because of the fact that it's going to be on a new engine, we're going to be seeing greater levels of character detail, better models, facial detail, and destructible covers thanks to Frostbite. I don't really feel that that's a leak specifically. That's like me saying to you, well, in the next generation of consoles, we're going to get better graphics. It's kind of like part and parcel. Even so, it is nice, particularly with the destructible covers. I would like to know how destructible things are. So, for example, let's say you're leaning behind a wall. What type of walls are destructible? I'm going to assume that you won't be able to wreck shit. Like, let's say, Red Faction. But obviously, we don't really know yet. So, you will be able to customize the Mako, which is, I guess it depends how that works. Like, levels of customization could depend. Like, if you can just put a Go Faster stripe on it, who cares? On the other hand, if you can do some more intense stuff, like maybe customize things such as weapons or loadouts, or maybe, you know, customize it somewhat to an environment, that might be kind of nice. The main character will be referred to as the Pathfinder, which I guess makes some levels of sense, because the story, from what we know, once again, massive spoiler alert, so close your ears for about 20 seconds if you don't want to know this. The basic story revolves around finding a new home for humanity and the other races, which of course humanity is friendly with. So I guess you could say this is going to be like a Battlestar Galactica type of thingy. Now, you can open your ears again. Hoody humdy hum, this is me waiting for you to open your ears. There will also be a Pathfinder's Quarters section on the ship. I guess you can kind of figure out what that means. Mass Effect Andromeda will feature a new star system travel. So basically, you know how the old galaxy map worked? Well, that's, from what we can tell, gone. So, you know, toss that out the window. Instead, we've got a more manual way of flying. I don't know how that would work in reality. I think it could be amazing, or it could get frustrating and boring. So one of the benefits, of course, of the star system, the old galaxy map, is that essentially you can quickly warp around planet to planet. I'm going to reserve judgment on that because I can see it working multiple ways, so I don't know. We'll wait. I'll wait on that one. The ship is supposedly completely different in size, so it's massive, presumably anyway. Enemies are described as both bipedal and a cross between the Vulture and Collectors. I guess you can kind of guess what that means. I mean, it's not really much to go on, is it? Non-human enemies drop into combat from Cerberus ships, and probably the biggest piece of information, and I'm sure this one is making people go absolutely crazy. There is a human soldier who is an antagonist. Now, this soldier does have armor very, very similar to your own, but it does not have the N7 insignia. Supposedly, you can spare him. We don't know any other details. All we know is we can spare him, but that's pretty much it. Now, I would like to also point out a couple of small things. I did realise that I was mentioning about the galaxy map travel. Just to clarify, there is still FTL drive for rapid travel, so I guess you can imagine how that would work, because, I mean, I don't know, with the whole, you're within a small galaxy, you can fly first person, that could work, you know, you go to the various planets and all that jazz. The most interesting thing, however, for me, is definitely the human soldier. I imagine there is a hell of a lot of people who are wondering who the hell that could be. And there is a lot of different options, let's face it. Now, the developers have also stated that the main character will only be human. The reason behind this is pretty simple. They said that Mass Effect story is essentially a human story, so, you know, it's nothing else. You can't imagine that you're playing as like a Krogan, an Asari, a Reaper, or, you know, the pet dog. Essentially, your main character, from what we can understand, is going to be a human, which I'm fine with. Excuse me. I realise some people are going to be upset by that, particularly those who are more interested in the roleplay side of things. Personally, I'm more interested in the story side of things, so I'm not that fussed. My opinions on this game so far is I can't wait for it. I really cannot. I mean, just give me it now. Just give me it now, please. Seriously, I really want this game. I have a feeling that there's going to be many hours spent on that one. I really love BioWare's titles. I'm an absolute whore for them. I really love the way they handle the story. I love the way that the Mass Effect universe, in my opinion, is one of the most rich and diverse in video games, and I'm really looking forward to sinking my life basically into this thing. A few other smaller notes, and these are not massive, but still kind of interesting. You can conduct strike missions from the ship. Exactly the extent of that and how it works in reality, of course, you can imagine. There is also a meeting room to interact with the squad. I imagine you could also probably walk around the ship itself and do the normal chats with your fellow teammates, but how the meeting room to interact with them works, obviously we can only speculate at this point. The Normandy as well has a balcony. Now you could observe lower levels and see stuff like the Marco, as well as the Pathfinder's quarters. And there's a lot of information regarding character customization. Now this specifically revolves around you being able to customize things such as armor, helmets, gauntlets. How this actually works in terms of the level of stats you can customize, the aesthetics of it, that type of thing, we're not really so sure at the moment. Details are still kind of sketchy, unfortunately, but, you know, that's good. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.